Chapter 8 review has two topics I'm going to briefly talk about. The first one is dividing rational expressions. So you see the problem here is listed in red. When you divide two rational expressions, you have to change the problem a little bit to multiply by the reciprocal. So you're going to keep the first fraction the same. You're going to change the middle sign to a multiplication, and you're going to take the reciprocal of the second fraction. So you're just going to flip it. After that's done, you need to try to factor anything that's possible. So v minus 9 can't factor. The trinomial at the bottom, you can do an X model chart off to the side, or think of two numbers that multiply to a negative 72 and they add up to a negative 1. And that is a negative 9 and a positive 8 multiplied by the 2v plus 16 at the top can factor by taking out a GCF of a 2. So this becomes v plus 8. And then here's the fun part we did in class, the Fruit Ninja with the sound effects. So you're looking for a common factor on the numerator and the denominator that can karate chop away. So the v minus 9s can go, hi-ya, hi-ya. The v plus 8s can go, hi-ya, hi-ya. And you're left with just a 2 at the top and a 3v underneath. So that is your final answer for this question. The second example is x plus 3 over x squared minus 100 divided by x plus 3 and x squared plus 2x minus 80. So again, our first step is to multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to keep the first one, x plus 3 over x squared minus 100. Change to multiplication, flip the second one, and look for any factoring that you can do. So on this problem, the first denominator is a difference of squares, x squared minus 100, which factors into x minus 10 and x plus 10. The second one, the trinomial at the top, can factor. So you're thinking of two numbers that multiply to negative 80, but they add to a positive 2, and that is a positive 10 and a negative 8. So then, Fruit Ninja time, what can divide out? So the x plus 10s will go away. Hi-ya, hi-ya. The x plus 3s, hi-ya, hi-ya. And you're left with x plus or minus 8 at the top and x minus 10 below. So that is your final answer. The second topic is graphing reciprocal functions. So I'm going to first set up my x and y axis here. So we're going to be graphing. Let's say our function is f of x equals 3 over x minus 2 with the plus 1 out on the other side. Okay, so if that is our function, we need to find out a couple things. We need the vertical and horizontal asymptotes and the domain and range. So the vertical asymptote is where the function is undefined. So some number subtract 2. What number would that be that makes the whole denominator 0, which is a 2? So the the vertical asymptote is an equation x equals 2. The horizontal asymptote comes from the end of the function, this plus 1 at the end. So this is a y equals equation, so that's y equals 1. Remember, the domain and range is pretty easy here. The domain goes along with the vertical asymptote, so the domain is all real numbers except for 2, and the range is all real numbers except for 1. So I'm going to highlight my two asymptotes here, and you can use the colored pencil or a marker or a highlighter if you have it. X plus 2 is going to be a vertical line. So this is x equals 2, and y equals 1 is going to be up here. So then next you want to type the function into your calculator. I can't show you that here, but you should know how to type that into y equals. Look at the graph, see where it's located, but actually view the table of values to make it a little more accurate. But for this purpose, it's going to look something like this with arrows on both ends. Oh, that one should have been a curve a little bit more. Remember, they don't cross the yellow boundary lines or you'll get zapped there, so that is your function. So I'm going to do one more like this. So let's say this function was f of x equals 2 over x plus 1 and then minus 3. So here's my x and y axis. My vertical asymptote is going to be where this x, what value of x makes this undefined, which is a -1. So it's x equals -1. The horizontal asymptote, it comes from the end here. So it says -3, so that is y equals -3. Domain goes along with the vertical asymptote again, so it's everything except for -1. And the range goes with the horizontal, which is all real numbers except for -3. So I'm going to highlight my x equals -1 is a vertical line here. And my y is down 3, so that's my y. Again, go to your calculator, graph it accurately to see where it is. But for this video, it's going to look something like this.